Voltron Network.
What's up, guys, and welcome to the DC versus Marvel podcast, where we talk about the latest DC and Marvel movie news. My name is Uz, and I'm your regular DC fanboy. Once again, in the red corner, representing Marvel Comics, is my boy Eds. How you doing, bruv?
Oh, it's good to be a Marvel fan, dude. It just feels so good. Feels like I'm loved, being in a warm embrace. I'm great, man.
Good. So today we got a lot of stuff to talk about, guys. We're gonna be talking some Batman stuff. We're gonna be talking Blue Beetle. We're gonna be talking Hawkeye, and was there something that I missed? I don't know. Was there something that I missed?
Spider-Man No Way Home. Oh,
Yeah, man. And we're gonna be talking Spider-Man No Way Home as well. So
review.
guys,
Not just rumors. We're actually gonna talk about the film
review.
stuff.
Yeah. Review. We'll start off with a little non-spoilery and then kind of go more into spoiler territory, and stuff like that, man. So yeah, guys, this obviously this podcast is coming a little bit late, but we kind of just with I texted Eds earlier because I couldn't really wait to kind of till Sunday to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home. Just too much stuff to kind of to kind of talk about, man. So yeah, I've been annoying like everybody at work, man, being like, have you seen Spider-Man? No, I haven't seen that. It's like, oh my God, you see it so we can talk
That's
about it. Like,
why
right
I had
now.
to see it, man. But we'll talk about it when we get to the review, mate. I couldn't wait.
Yeah.
I just couldn't wait.
Yeah. So before we start that,
I feel so sorry for our American audience, man.
Oh my goodness
and
me.
Canadian and whoever hasn't got it yet, because the spoilers are just everywhere. You can't avoid it. It's just going to be ruined, and that's a different experience when you know all the surprises.
That's the thing. There's one thing about spoilers. If you kind of are like, yeah, I anticipate this is going to happen, and it happens.
Yeah.
And there's a different spoiler when you actually see it on a flipping 2-inch Twitter feed or whatever it is. It's a very, very different scenario, man. Before we start going into that, did you complete your task of the week to watch Red?
Yes, I remembered to watch Red Notice.
Okay, so what did you think about my my comments on the Rock there?
Totally right. It's the same as it was in Hobbs and Shaw and every other movie where he has to like stand opposite a female. There's just nothing going on there in his eyes. It's like I think in his head he imagines he's standing in front of a mirror and he's like making out of himself. I think that's how his method is for romantic scenes.
I find it very weird because I know, like, obviously the Rock throughout the days of wrestling and stuff, he's always talking about the Rock loves poontang pie like that, yeah, and he's always like saying stuff like that. So, and it's like, but when you actually get confronted by a woman, it's like, there's nothing going on there.
And it like that kid, that teenager that's in the closet but isn't at the point where they want to admit it, so they kind of overcompensate when they're talking to the guys, like, hey guys, what do you love about girls? I love that poontang, ain't it? Ain't that what it is? Like, that's what he sounds like.
Do you know what? Yeah. Do you know? I had that in my head, and I was kind of like, do I say this? Do I say? Is he not like, because it's, to me, it's just very, very weird, right? You've got this guy who basically spends his entire time trying to look and be as masculine as possible. Every single role that he has is like, I'm the strong guy, the powerful guy, the army guy, the FBI guy, the this, the that. And every single time he tries to look like the biggest, most muscular, most most aggressive character in there, the most dominant character, right? But part of that masculinity is the is the interaction with females, and obviously his interaction is extremely weird. It was like it's interesting because we'll come to it, with the Spider-Man review. But when you see Mary Jane and Peter Parker together, it's and it's kind of like I think with that film with the Red Notice thing, that they could have made it like so it was more of a joke. So I can't remember the film what it was. I think it's like back in the day, like Hot Shots or something like that. And basically, like these two people, they're all over each other, and it just looks people just like looking on like that's just nasty, man. Like, just like they're like literally like snogging each other's face off, and it just looks horrible because they're all just like all over each other's faces and stuff. And they could have made it like that, and then it would have been hilarious because Reynolds would have been like, "What the hell? That's just nasty." Like that, yeah.
And it would have
been a funny scene.
You're right about Reynolds. He does save that film. Like I was worried that he was going to be too Deadpool stick, but he needed that because that kind of made it bearable to sit through the whole film. Just him just taking the piss at everybody and every situation.
Yeah. That film actually made me do a straw poll around all the different practices that I work at of Gal Gadot, basically, right? So my theory, I had a theory that basically, if you're a woman in a committed long-term relationship, you will not like Gal Gadot, and if you are a single, usually younger female, then you'll probably like Gal Gadot. And I actually got to say that I was quite right about that in my mini kind of straw poll that is going on. And the reason is it got explained to me like by one of the nurses there, basically, that the way that this is the one reason why The Rock stands out so much in this kind of thing. The reason why these like married committed women don't like Gal Gadot is because the way that she looks at the blokes that she's meant to be involved with. I mean, she's not a great actress, right? But that one part where she's, in any film that she's at, where she's looking at the guy who she's meant to be, in love with or whatever, the look that she gives them is like, if she gave that to any other bloke, it would be like, man. Yeah, it's that kind of look. It's that kind of look, like literally, like, she's. You can see like when she goes like to embrace The Rock and stuff, she's like goes like properly into, and the look that she's giving is like, I know I can get you, I know I can do this, whatever, right?
I fucking just burn your world down if I chose.
Exactly. And then you compare that to The Rock, and The Rock's just like The Rock reminds me of my son, right? When it's like, if girls come near, it's like, ew, girls are icky, get them away, go away, icky, that's nasty, like, so that kind of thing. That's exactly what it's like. But
I gotta say about Gal, I didn't actually mind her in this, acting wise, but I could never get over just like, I'm not gonna, guys, don't worry, I'm not gonna be body shaming nothing, but she's worryingly thin all the time, and it's uncomfortable for me to look at, man. It's just mad how some people's metabolism must just be working overtime, because girls had 2 kids and she's still skinny as hell. It's mad.
3 now. 3.
Oh, 3. Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive.
3. So it's just it's crazy. It's crazy when it's kind of like that. But I kind of I don't know. I just thought it would be an interesting thing to talk about last time, because I was thinking I can't be the only person who's done that. It's quite funny because actually, like, all of my Jeremy Renner hate has disappeared and it's kind of piled itself on The Rock.
Thank you. Right? I'm not alone. I'm not alone.
So
when you were a kid, what was that crazy dog? Was it Dopey or Droopy? Droopy dog.
Droopy dog, yeah.
The annoying dog that no matter where, who was it that he was always opposite against? Was it like a wolf or a dog or something?
I can't remember.
Whoever it was, they would run away, they'd get onto a plane, fly across the planet, and then Droopy would just be right there at the other side of a door when they'd open it and be like, can't get away. That's what the movie was like. No matter where Reynolds went, without explanation, Rock would just be right there, just waiting for him.
Yeah, the movie was so ridiculous. I mean, guys, I'm sorry, I know this is a comic book podcast, but this is just, it's so funny, this kind of thing. The movie was so ridiculous that the plan was to get him and Reynolds out of this maximum security prison in Russia, where the only way out is this helicopter. And he was gambling that Ryan Reynolds wouldn't fly off on his own and that they wouldn't get killed. I mean, they nearly got killed like 4 or 5 times.
They're getting shot at. Rocket launchers getting past them. Like,
it's like, why would that be your escape plan? It's like, oh, we planned it all along. No, that as your plan? That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, man. I wrote a full review on this on the forum, and people were just like, man, you tore this thing to shreds. I was like, look, I was entertained by how crap it was, right?
Yes,
that was
I was about to say, it's like one of the crappiest films that was easy to watch. Like, it's just this bizarre thing that shouldn't coexist, but it was easy to watch it because it wasn't that long. But it is terrible. But I can still, it's weird. So
it reminded this film reminded me of the David Brent film, right? The Life on the Road or whatever it was, where when you're watching it, you're just like, oh God, are they doing that? Oh man, this is so bad. This is terrible. But you just watch it because it's just entertaining crap, like going on, man, going on. So so let's actually go into now, because my hate has dissipated for this one actor, because I've now piled it all onto the rock. Let's get into Hawkeye there first, man, because we kind of we reviewed 1 to 3 last time, so there's 4 and 5 now, obviously, that we have to review. And do you know what? I spend a lot of time on different Marvel forums of trying to, just like, and DC forums, obviously, like trying to, see what different people are saying about different things, trying to gauge certain stuff. And man, the amount of hate this thing gets is like, I can't get it. Like, some people are just like, oh, there's no hype for this. It's really bad. I saw this one thread on the Marvel Cinematic Universe Facebook forum, which has 400,000 people on it, basically, right? And there were so many people on this thread going, oh man, yeah, this is absolutely nothing compared to some of the other stuff there. And then other people just saying, well, you're an idiot, and you don't know what you're talking about. And I kind of got to be the same as that, because for me, this thing just keeps getting better and better. I don't know about you. What do you think about it?
I love it. It's just like, I was thinking about it the other day when I was talking to somebody. I think I was talking to Solomon about it because he hasn't seen it yet. I was saying that, sure, like WandaVision, because I've liked all of them to various degrees, the various Marvel shows. Like, WandaVision is, and I guess Loki to a degree, they're deeper in their philosophical approaches to what they're trying to tell, and certain deepness in their characters. But Hawkeye is just fun. It's just so enjoyable just to sit and just watch this, and it's entertaining. And it's like, what's wrong with that? Some people just want this big end of the universe event. If it doesn't have that, then it's not good. But it's good displaying. You can't do that with Hawkeye. He's a bow and arrow guy. It should be a grounded, personal story for him, and it's just fun to watch.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things with all the other ones, is you have to be deep into the MCU to love that other stuff. And that's why I've liked it, but I've never really been like, I'm in love with WandaVision and Loki and Winter Soldier and stuff like that. I kind of just think, okay, I've liked them, they're all right for what they are, but because I'm not like so much into it, it hasn't really kind of drawn me in that much. But this really has kind of drawn me in, and every single time, like, I watch it and it's just like I've got a smile on my face. It's it's got action in it, it's entertaining. It's like, what's it called, Hawkeye is literally like approaches life the way that I do, where it's just like, oh, God, not again.
He's over it. He wants to just go home, but he can't.
He's just so annoyed at just like everything kind of all the time and stuff like that. I was watching episode 4. We went down to my in-laws on the weekend, and the kids basically came in. They're like, what's this? I was like, it's Hawkeye, right? They haven't seen episode 1 to 3. So then I know it was only 5 minutes into it, so I skipped it back to the start, and they were like glued to the screen, man. They're like, oh, what is this? Oh, this is so cool. This is such a cool program.
It has energy to it, like it's forward momentum. Like, it doesn't feel like it drags. It's just always something going on. And I can see why they get caught up in it.
I mean, there's so much like, there's cool stuff, and there's like, entertaining stuff there for the kids as well. Like, my kids haven't watched all the MCU films, right? But when they see they're not going to either. They're gonna get disowned if they do that. But when they see something like him firing a Pym arrow, and basically this arrow just becomes huge, to them that's a magical thing. Like this crazy massive arrow just coming skewering. To see that on screen is like, this is what is going on. This is like amazing. It's kind of
strange deal, but I know he had to reclaim some of his arrows, but who cleaned that up? Because he isn't getting that back. Like, how did he fix that? The city, that must cost millions.
That city is exactly. And it's like, okay, there's one guy who is part of the Avengers who they pretty much saved the world, or New York or whatever, and he has all these. They know he has trick arrows. So who else is it going to be who's done all of that? It's obviously him. It's obviously him. Like, they'll just be on his doorstep the next day saying, "Mate, what the hell is going on?" You know what I mean? But the story is getting more and more intriguing now, because obviously we're introduced to Echo and the world around that there as well, and Yelena coming in there as well, which kind of brings it into the Black Widow-y stuff, and then the telling that, oh, there's a guy who's above everything and he's the one who's kind of controlling everything and stuff like that. For me, this always cracks me up, because you're always going to get people who are just going to go, oh, I'm not into this, I'm not into this, I'm not into this. And then when the last episode comes, which apparently is the longest out of any of the series program, out of all of like Loki, WandaVision, all that, it's the longest length one that there has been. When they do, as it looks like, kind of reveal Kingpin, there's suddenly going to be hype, and all these people are going to be jumping on it and say, I love Hawkeye, blah blah, despite kind of slating it for God knows how long. You know what I mean?
This has to be the thing that brings people in finally. The fact that Kingpin's coming in, and it's mad, because you can't really mention that without wanting to go to what other things that we're going to be talking about later. But it's like, I feel so sorry for the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. guys, because you'd think out of all of the Marvel properties, they might be easiest to bring in, because they had some of the film guys pop in the early seasons. But they're just left out, and it's like being that kid that just is on the outside, just watching all the other kids play, and just being like, oh, I want to play.
That was always my kind of thing, that why I didn't really get into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is that basically it's like, okay, fine, you've got these characters or whatever, but it's like there are many grounded characters that you could have coming into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that is not going to completely destroy your budget and stuff like that. But I never really I heard Ghost Rider came in at one point, but
dude, it did start up pretty generic. It's an ABC show, but it got better as it kept going. I think by like season, I don't know, 3 or 4, once they really kind of got out there with it, and it actually became a good show. It was just such a shame that it's just out there and just no one gives a shit.
Yeah, it's kind of, the thing is, I feel like that the same way I feel about Walking Dead, right? Where it's like you watch it and it's like, okay, now I just can't watch it anymore. And even if people say to me, this is the best season ever of Walking Dead, I'm just like, oh God, I can't be bothered to watch it to get into it. It's gone now. So yeah, I mean, so many things to look forward to in that. I still loving the dynamic. I still love the fact that you got this cheeky kid who's just, I mean, she never learns. She's still going around going, I'm the world's greatest archer. You're not the world's greatest archer. You're making so many mistakes and stuff.
Teenagers.
Yeah. And the thing is, there was a bit that was like, it was so kind of well acted that I missed a lot of the parts there. And then when I saw somebody who was actually like took screenshots and was describing each bit, I was kind of like, oh, okay, fine, like this is how this played out. So we see the rooftop scene, and we see Yelena's on there, and Kate Bishop and Hawkeye, and then basically like Kate Bishop gets thrown off the roof, right? And you kind of think, okay, Yelena's thrown her off the roof, and that must have been like trigger central, man, for Hawkeye, because he's like, oh dear, like somebody's literally falling, like you know, he lost he lost Natasha in the same way. But the one thing that I didn't notice is that Yelena kind of puts this thing on her, like literally hooks her up, and then I thought she just chucked her over basically, which would have been crazy for like Black Widow's kind of thing to do. But then the one thing that I didn't quite get was when Kate kind of asks him like, who is this? He's like, you don't want to know, on the end of episode 4. I'm just thinking, okay, so how does he know her unless Natasha's told? Did Natasha tell him about her? Or
from what I got, especially from 5, he knows who Yelena is. So Natasha obviously told him that he had a sister. But at that point, I don't think he knew it was her. I think he just thought that it's a widow. He knows widows and how they combat, and he just feels like, because he said it at the end as well, someone's put a hit on us from the widows. So it's like, oh crap.
Yeah, because he was saying like, when he was talking about Natasha and stuff, that literally he was sent there to kill her and stuff, and then he decided not to do it and things like that. 5 was great as well. I mean, it's it's just sometimes you watch these series and they're like 12, 13 episodes long, and there's like 3 or 4 filler episodes, right? In this, okay, fine, it's only 6 episodes, but that's better because there's no bloody filler in there. It's just like straight to the point each and every single time.
I saw it come with the mum though. I had a feeling the mum was the one gonna be shady, because there was that little phone call, that mystery phone call thing early on where he's like, who's she talking to? There's got to be a reason why they're showing this. So yeah, it's interesting. Also, like Hawkeye's wife, I don't know if she's some special agent or something, because she's kind of like got some hook up to. It just means he's terrible at his job, because he really shouldn't be telling his wife all of these details about his job, but it looks like he's telling her everything.
It's just like this is like an Avengers on like a normal line, like like anybody can tap in the world, just like hello, this is the situation. It's just hilarious, man. Still a great show for me. The best of the lot, just because I can, it's one of those things I can watch this with the kids, and it's kind of like, okay, I know there's gonna be no dodgy scenes in it, right? It is literally just like, it's entertaining. They're not gonna be like swearing all the time and stuff like that, and it's just like, it's entertaining there as well, because some of these things you watch it and it's like I can't watch this because it's so kiddified, because now like the ages have kind of moved on there a bit. But with this, you can watch it, be entertained, and the kids can watch it and be entertained there as well. It's just brilliant. My son's running around the house like with this. My daughter's got this Nerf arrow thing, so they're going around like firing the Nerf arrows around and stuff. So they're just it's inspirational.
Diving on the couch trying to shoot it in midair. I'd be doing that definitely if I was a kid.
So that's exactly what they're doing.
And I've got to say, I love the scene as well where Yelena and Kate are just, when she turns up in Kate's apartment, and they're just kind of just bouncing back and forth
and catches. It's cool. That half, a lot of the stuff is kind of like the dialogue between people is kind of the interesting thing that you want, because we see a lot of action, but you also want that the backstories and talk and all that kind of thing. I think it'll be interesting to see, like, okay, she's eventually obviously going to take over the mantle, and then it's going to be like she's going to skirt the line in between, like the 10 rings on what and the widows, and she's going to kind of be in the middle, and I think there's going to be a lot of interaction between those 3 things.
Why is she going to get involved with the 10 rings?
No, I'm just saying, like, obviously in Shang-Chi they tease the 10 rings at the end, right? And it's like, okay, they're going to end up going on the same kind of missions that the dad was going on and stuff like that, and the widows there seem to be also going on assassin type missions and taking those kind of things.
But she's not with the widows though.
Yelena,
didn't she just kind of leave them? She's with what's her face, isn't it, the other chick who's doing that little evil crew that she's put together. But then I've got a feeling they're probably going to end up reforming at some point.
under a different guy, because the Widows was under what's his face?
The daughter.
What was that guy's name?
Oh,
I can't remember. Ray Winstone.
Ray Winston, yeah. But the daughter, I'm guessing the daughter's taking it over now as the leader to some degree.
Yeah. I that's my prediction, but I could be.
Yeah, it makes sense.
To be honest, we'll see. So you're looking forward to the finale, right?
I can't wait. D'Onofrio back proper with dialogue.
I really hope it is him. I don't trust anybody anymore, because
like saw the picture.
As we'll talk about.
As we'll talk about on the phone.
Yeah, as we'll talk about there a bit later on, like. Anybody who makes a denial on anything can't be trusted anymore about anything. And D'Onofrio, he's always like, I'd like to go back in, but yeah, he is blatantly back in. I hope they actually do. Yeah, I hope they do actually. I hope they do actually do the thing when like he is actually in it, as opposed to like what they did at the end of Venom, where it's like, here's Peter Parker kind of thing, and didn't actually show like, you know what I mean? So it's like you see his hand, or you see the back of him, or you see whatever, but you don't actually see him. It's like, somebody else kind of thing.
Just making sure you did see the picture on the phone that he had.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But
I don't think he would
saying.
Turn up to do that picture and not have any dialogue in the whole thing. That would just be and shave his head for no reason.
It's a Zoom photo. You know what I mean? I just kind of look on the on the negative side there as well, to kind of to start off with, because as you know, if you expect to be disappointed, then you never get disappointed, right? So Hawkeye is great. Let's go into a couple of DC things before we go into the main review on Spider-Man. Did you see the Japanese trailer of the Batman?
I saw thumbs for it, but I purposely just had to be like, no more. I don't really think I need any more trailers at this point. Just give me the film. Just give it to me, baby.
Yeah. So this is almost the same, but it seems like there's like cut audio kind of like put together.
There always is at this point. You can never trust what you see in trailers now. It's always out of sequence and people's voiceovers with different scenes. I just assume that at this point.
Yeah, because from this, it seems like the Riddler is speaking to Batman and calls him Bruce Wayne. But it's like the audio is not smooth kind of thing. It kind of seems like he might be saying Bruce Wayne in another scene, and they've cut it in there to kind of make it like thingy.
If anyone does know who he is, I'm definitely presuming Riddler's probably one of the ones who could figure it out.
Yeah.
Because there was that shot in the first trailer where he's at like a funeral and stuff kicks off, and I'm presuming he may have something to do with that. And Riddler's a small one; he can figure out.
Yeah, I mean, so also apparently as well, there's 2 final cuts that they've put through, and they're doing test screenings there now off it, basically. So this guy Daniel RPK is the one who always is releasing these kind of little background information and stuff like that. It says that there are 2 cuts that they're screening there at the moment to see whether they keep a fan favorite villain in it, basically. A teaser for the fan favorite villain in the end. So they haven't actually revealed that this guy's in it, but the the guy in Eternals, the Irish guy who could mind control and stuff. There's big rumors that he's actually in this film, even though he's not actually in it, and that he is going to be the Joker. So the thing is, they've got 2 cuts where basically like it leads into potentially a second film with the Joker in it, and then another one which is solely based on the Riddler kind of thing.
Why? We don't need the Joker anymore. It's been enough. We've seen so many iterations, and no one's gonna cop Ledger. even Phoenix at this point, like it's like, why would you? This is just too many good A-class actors have done. Like, just stay away from it, man. There's so many. Batman has so many villains. Why do they keep going back to the Joker world?
I think it's bankable property, right? Just the most bankable, kind of like Harley Quinn, right? The most bankable property that you have. You put something with Harley Quinn in it, suddenly, like, people talking about it the same way with the Joker, like everybody kind of goes crazy. But there's two. I mean, if you've got all of these, like, rogues gallery of villains that are in there, there are so many more that could be there. I would actually much rather see Hush in a light, because I think they can make him look nuts, man. Like, literally, like, have him, like, it would be crazy, like an actual him trying to follow this this killer who's, like, killing all these people, and then you find out it's Tommy Elliott, who is his mate and stuff like that. I think they have to really
establish that character, though, innit, before they bring him in.
Yeah,
out of the blue. If they had to bring Joker, because it's a dark tone film, it's not really that far off from the Wacky Phoenix one. I would do whatever. I'd rather just get him into it and just feel like his stuff happened before Bruce became Batman, and just do what you got to do, man. Kidnap his girlfriend, his family, whatever. Just get Phoenix in. I'm talking about in real life, just to persuade him to take the role. Just do whatever underhanded shit, because at least tonally there's a similarity there, and he can do it. Even though I don't really view his version of Joker as the Joker, but I think they can say that that's his early days and really make him twisted.
Yeah, and I think, and that's the thing, like, the aesthetic is similar, like, like you're saying, the tone is similar there as well, and it's recognizable, rather than let's bring another Joker in. It's like, man, you might as well just bring in every bloody Joker, and also, like, I honestly think, like, I love the Joker, man, but I honestly think the Joker's been done to death, like, seriously, like, it is there are so many crazy ass villains that are there that that even if you decided, oh, let's go like super grounded or whatever, there are so many crazy ass villains that you could go for that I kind of think, bring those guys in there instead, rather than looking at the Joker all the time.
Even though we had Scarecrow in the Nolan ones a couple of times, I'd be fine with him doing a different version of him and really kind of getting into that nightmare version of Scarecrow, because he was just a dude with a bad in the Nolan ones. So really get into the full-on out there Scarecrow that you see in the comics. Like, just so many.
And actually turning Batman into like a full-on menace, because he's got, like, he's got the fear toxin, and, like, he gets framed for doing whatever, because under the influence of the fear toxin, he might, do something, like hurt somebody really badly or something like that. I think that would be a very interesting way to go about it. I mean, for me, I always, and I think it would be very difficult in this Pattinson one, because it's way too grounded. But for me, it would always be Clayface.
I was about to say it. He was so cool, man. Just changing into people. Oh.
I just love to see it, like a David Cronenberg's type body horror, where it's just like, he's just like, he's like a failed actor, wants to do all these roles, and then, like, he takes this thing and it's just like his whole body melts into this, like, it'd just be like, it would be absolutely nuts to kind of watch, man.
Even in the grounded Batman, I think you could do it. You just got to make it horrific and dark. Even Killer Croc, let's make it just horrific body horror shit, and then it would fit.
That's basically what they need to do. They need to get David Cronenberg on board and then do that. There's some weird ass film that I saw a trailer for recently, which I can't remember what it's called, but it's not English, but it's some woman, she basically goes and, like, bangs a car or something, and then she's Titan, right? Okay, so I saw this trailer for this thing, and I was just thinking, man, whoever directed this would create some crazy body horror kind of
they
thing.
would, because if you've only seen the trailer, it's even madder than it looks in the trailer.
Oh, is it?
That movie is I kind of sat there for about 5 minutes thinking, what did I just spend nearly 2 hours watching? This is nuts.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I will watch it at some point, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe not in the main living room.
Oh no.
So yeah, also I think this news only came today, right? But I being a cynic, I'm saying this is coming off the back of the success of Spider-Man. That that Blue Beetle has now been announced as a feature film as opposed to a HBO Max film, right? And I got to honestly think, like, because we've talked for a while, and you were just like, mate, they should just make something with a Latino Latino American and just get that
massive market, and that Latino version of Blue Beetle, he is the Spider-Man, DC's version of Spider-Man. Just like if it's done right, like it's just a slam dunk if it's a good movie. But
I don't know. And you got an actor who's kind of out there at the moment in the guy from Cobra Kai and stuff. So I just have to be cynical and just think, okay, this has come off the back of that. But with me, man, any DC properties that make it to the fore, I'll be happy to watch. You know what I mean? Unless it's Wonder Woman 3, which is probably going to be absolutely horrific.
I'm just thinking about the director though with Blue Beetle. That's where it's what's he done? Is he done
a lot of it?
Good?
A lot of it you kind of got to think like the director and the what's it called, the director and the script writer. It's like these two guys, Bilal something and I can't remember the other guy, so Arbil or something his name is, and they're basically like two guys from the Middle East. They're basically come out of nowhere, and they directed Bad Boys for Life, and now directing the what's called Miss Marvel, and now they're directing Batgirl, right? And it's like they literally came out absolutely nowhere and just ended up directing like three massive comic book properties.
I'm looking at the Blue Beetle guy, Angel Manuel Soto, and it's just like these no-name films that no one's seen that are in I guess Mexican, Spanish, I don't know.
Okay.
And they just get this super. We just got to direct a couple of crap films, and that's it. That's all we got to do, and then we'll get
just absolutely terrible films. Yeah. Just need to direct that World War II Street Fighter film in the most terrible way, and then then somebody will come knock on the door and say please could you direct Clayface for us? So guys, without further ado, let's get into the main event, which is Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, guys, warnings, there's going to be spoilers in this. Go watch it. I honestly, I don't want to spoil it for a single person, man. I would say watch it and then come back and listen to us, right?
Are we going to do like 3 minutes of non-spoiler first?
No,
I just want to get straight into it. Okay.
I can't be bothered.
If you're leaving us, guys, you haven't seen it yet, or you're kind of on the fence, you want to see it fresh, man. But remember, there's 2 post credits. Just remember that.
Yeah.
In the middle and right at the very end. So stick around.
Yeah.
And then, now you can go.
And the last post credit is the kind of one that we haven't seen since Captain America. Yeah. Right. So that you definitely need to see that. So if everybody's still here and everybody's come back after watching the film, man, what an event. Right? Wow. What an event. Me and Silent went to go and see this on the Wednesday, right? And I don't know, man. Like I don't want this podcast to be like a therapy session or anything like that. But basically, like, and don't get the violins out or anything like that. But basically, I literally haven't had any time off work since December last year. Right, I've literally been working like every single day, even on the weekends, doing reports, all that kind of stuff. Right, And over the past like few months, I've felt burnt out. Like literally, I've just felt like I don't want to do this anymore. I hate work. I can't be bothered. And then when we started getting tickets for this, right? I was like, okay, let me get tickets for this, for this thing there on opening night. Because I want to see it kind of with everybody else, right? And I was meant to be going to clinic like that afternoon, and I just cancelled it, right? And it was, I shouldn't have, because I kind of look at it and think, okay, maybe I should have gone in and done the work, whatever. But I tell you what, this is exactly what I needed. Like it like elevated my mood to the next level, man. I've been riding on that for like 3 days now, like literally just like the heights of that of the entertainment of that, right? And it's kind of been, I don't know what it when you saw it on Thursday, was it on
Thursday? I was on the fence of whether to go see it opening or just not really deal with the crowds and just kind of see it in an emptier cinema.
Mm-hmm.
But then I decided when the tickets originally went up, let me just have a look, see if I can book something. For some reason, the app wouldn't work for the cinema chain over here. Website wouldn't work for the whole, up until literally the day when I went to see it. I just couldn't get on the app's or the website. And then I think, let me go to the View. It's another chain. That website crashed on me. Like, it was like the universe didn't want me to see this. So I decided to just go to the closest bog standard, which is a shithole, basically, cinema close to me, and just be like, screw it, man. Let's just see this with the chavs and the scum of the earth. And it turned out to be a pretty good audience, man. It was actually, I'm happy I did that. Because they had their reactions the way they reacted at that moments the way they should, which was great.
Half of that entertainment is the audience, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? I have never seen such a big reaction for a white stick coming on the screen than I have for when Charlie Cox Daredevil.
Yeah.
All you see is this white stick, and the crowd went mental. They're just like,
whoa,
like, yes, come on. Like, it was absolutely crazy. So guys, yeah, I mean, basically this this film, if you can do, go and see it with an audience, preferably not a chavvy kind of one. If you don't know what a chav means, look on Google. But basically, like, go and see it with your mates, with as many people as you possibly can do, because this thing really is like an event, man.
This is the biggest event for me. It just felt like on Infinity War level of superhero movies. It feels just the hype and just the intensity everyone had in the cinema. It's like Endgame. It's like on that level.
Yeah, for me, I don't know what it was when I saw Endgame, but the crowd was really subdued in Endgame. But in Infinity War, the crowd was crazy. When Thor kind of came down, right, the crowd just went nuts, basically, right? And when Peter Parker's dying and stuff, it's just like people like no, like that. It's like, okay,
I had a great Endgame. I had an Endgame crowd, especially when Cap picks up Mjolnir. And just people were just cheering and clapping, and even when Tony kind of passes, and every moment was just, people were just going nuts. It was great.
They were very, very subdued. I don't know what was going on, but there's literally like no reaction through the entire thing. This film, the only time I've ever seen this kind of level of reaction was probably, how many years ago would it be now? It'd been in 2001, 2002, 2003, when Revenge of the Sith came out, right? And it's weird because I was a junior doctor in Plymouth, which is down south somewhere, and basically like me and one of my friends, we went to the midnight screening. It's unfortunate you don't get midnight screenings much anymore now, but basically we went to a midnight screening, and there were people there, and it wasn't like actually like a show, but people were going up at the front. They were all like dressed up as Jedi, like people were fighting with lightsabers like in front of the screen and stuff.
Audience,
there's audience,
during the film.
No, not during the film.
I was gonna say
before the film started. Yeah, because security would have like followed. So they're going and they're fighting and stuff. Everybody was into it, and literally like when it came on, like the the oohs and the ahs and when Darth Vader's getting like immolated and stuff, like the reactions was crazy. I'd never ever seen anything like that there before, and then when I saw this obviously was kind of on another level, man. We had, yeah.
Well, it's got to be said, like, no matter how big a reaction, whatever film I've watched with crazy audience reaction, none have gotten any bigger than a Bollywood film that I saw once. People were literally dancing in the aisles. Like, I'd never seen anything like it. With hands in, it was literally like a party, a rave inside the thing instead of what it was just
wow. Wow. Yeah, I mean, in this, it was highly entertaining. There was a couple that was sitting. We were like in one aisle, and then there was the steps going down. They were sitting like just over there, and the wife was. She was like sobbing, like it was loud, like she was literally crying her eyes out. Right? There were bits in that film when I was watching it, and I was like, okay, I was cheering when we saw Andrew Garfield turning up, or when we saw Tobey Maguire and all that kind of stuff. I was cheering there as well.
Jump into it.
Yeah. But there were parts in there where I was like, I can actually feel like I was getting so involved in this. I've got a lump in my throat like, when I'm actually like watching it, right? And the first, we see basically in this, in this film, like, Spider-Man is basically seen as like a villain type character, and I know they kind of glossed over that a little bit because it was a bit bizarre. Like, there's meant to be this like massive attack in London. There's no like MI6 or anything that turns up to talk to him. It's like the Department of Damage Control or something like that. And it's like, mate, if you're putting cameos in, bloody James Bond should have turned up.
That's true. That is true, isn't it? It was all in London, like, so it should have been. How the hell did Charlie Cox get him off? Because it should have been. He should be getting deported. The whole thing should have taken place over there.
He should have been deported over to
or extradited. I mean,
yeah. Well, the thing is, we don't have an extradition treaty with the US. It's the other way around, right? So they can take British citizens over there, bullshit. But we're not allowed to take American citizens over here.
What is seriously? It's true. A pussy government, man. They got to check.
There was this woman like a few years back. She's basically like her husband was like a CIA operative on the American Air Base, and there was a kid who was basically walking home. This 19-year-old kid, and she drove off the base. She's driving on the wrong side of the road because you Americans drive on the wrong side, right? And she knocked this kid over and killed him, and then drove straight to the airport, flew over to America.
And then have to go back.
No. And basically now it's like, you do know you killed a kid, kind of like, you're going to face justice or nah. So that's the kind of thing. So there's no way we could have extradited them, but it would have been entertaining to kind of see like, okay, MI6, they could have just said like, MI6 want to talk to you or whatever, because they bloody would do, you know what I mean? Or Scotland Yard at least. Scotland Yard at least, because the man destroyed Tower Bridge, Can you imagine Tower Bridge get destroyed, and then it's like, and it's like, oh, he's a menace in America. Like, the American wouldn't give a stuff, man, if Tower Bridge got destroyed, you know what I mean? That was a bit of a weird thing, but then we go into a thing there where basically he as a result of that, which also was a little bit weird, I'm being a bit picky now because this film was so good. I'm trying to kind of get a little.
Even I got to admit, maybe it was my headspace having to go to like a shitty cinema, but it took me a minute to warm up to it. For the first 15 minutes, I was just kind of sitting there with my arms crossed. So I wasn't really in it. It just took a little bit, and then suddenly it was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, there was some silly bits, right? Because it's kind of like, okay, I'm looking at this in the context from Hawkeye, and it's like Hawkeye and the Avengers save New York, right? So everybody knows who Spider-Man is. Everybody knows what Spider-Man did. to, you know, in Endgame, right? Because the kids saw him and stuff,
what
right?
have you done for me lately? That's what it always comes down to. Doesn't matter what you've done. It's like,
true.
what's your most recent thing?
That's true. So, you know, they know that, but then it's like, oh yeah, you're the menace. It's like, mate, they saved the city, they saved the world, you know what I mean? But then suddenly it's like, you know, they don't like him. Some people like him, some people don't. And I thought that was quite well done, the way that they did that.
The way that they showed the footage that was edited. So you just, because everyone loved Mysterio, because no one knew that he was the bad guy in it. So they thought he was this beloved guy, and then they had that audio or like kill them all or whatever with the drones. Yeah, it's perfectly. Yeah, you can kind of see how some people could be swayed. That there could be this split, like there is in the world right now with, you know, in the West, between people that are on this side and not.
And J. Jonah Jameson has gone full Alex Jones in this, right? He's gone full on Alex Jones. He's even got this similar kind of studio and everything set up. It's just like hilarious. So basically these all these guys are getting into they're trying to get into MIT. And the thing is, for me, unfortunately, that did spoil it a little bit, because as if you're a Spider-Man fan or you read Spider-Man comics, you know that Peter Parker never went to MIT anyway. He never was going to go to MIT. He went to NYU, right, with Harry Osborn and, you know, Felicia Hardy and stuff like that. So so basically, like, when there's this whole kind of thing about, are they going to get into MIT? Are they not? They kind of got rejected from going to MIT because we have MJ and Ned. They all get rejected because of their association with Peter Parker. But then Peter kind of gets, basically goes and speaks to Doctor Strange to try and get everybody to kind of forget Peter Parker. And this is the bit that we see in the trailer. So
everybody's kind of life's a misery, even his aunt. Like, they're just getting hounded, helicopters outside the windows. Like, everyone's life's a misery. So he has to kind of, feels like he has to wipe the slate clean.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like, he basically goes there. So so we were talking about before about the No Way Home trailer, and we're kind of like, oh, I kind of hope that it's not just him messing up a spell, but it was really him messing up a spell for Doctor Strange, which kind of changed everything around. Doctor Strange for me in this was a bit of a weird one. Some parts I was like, okay, I think he's quite cool, like the way he's doing stuff and things like that. And other times it's kind of like, I just thinking this guy is really like naive and just behaving like in a bizarre way, kind of thing.
For me, with Stranger, it's his ego. That's his biggest like Achilles heel, was his ego. They established that in his own film. And I think that's kind of what leads him to do this. Like, he kind of knows common sense, he shouldn't be doing this, but his ego is like, well, can I do this? Can I pull this off? Let me try. I'm just curious. Let me try. I'm good enough. I can do this. So that's kind of what I'll go to.
So the spell that he creates basically is for everybody to forget Peter Parker, but the spell goes wrong. And in effect, what he does is he creates cracks in the multiverse. And what happens is everybody who kind of knows who Peter Parker is gets pulled into this universe before he can contain the spell. So some of the people get done that. And what it seems like is the villains from kind of the previous films, just before they died. So I kind of got the thing that, was it just before they died that they kind of found out that Peter Parker was Spider-Man? That's kind of what it seemed like literally, like, you know, so why Green Goblin is still alive, that's why he got pulled through, because, you know. I
don't think Sandman ever knew.
Well, that's the thing, because he was kind of, you know, I've got to watch that again, because I can't even remember, because he seemed really obviously friendly with Spider-Man. But it was kind of like, he must have known who Peter Parker was, but then the question was, when did he know that?
I don't. It's been a while since I've seen that one. Maybe I need to watch it again. But I don't think he even cared who Peter Parker was. It wasn't. He had no association with him in any way. So I don't know.
So interestingly, I'll come to this almost right at the end, because there's a bit of the end there which is kind of associated with this. But they all get pulled into like New York around the same time, where Doctor Strange basically says to Peter, "Why don't you go and speak to the admissions person who's on the way to the airport or something. Instead of doing,
he made me do this, and he didn't even ask them.
And then what happens is that all of these villains end up turning up on this bridge, right? So we end up getting we end up getting Dr. Octopus and Green Goblin. He ends up fighting them, and the admissions officer is kind of like, well, okay, I'm going to give you guys a chance because you're a hero. And then later on, they try and go and find the other ones. So he ends up trying to find Electro and Sandman. And
so surreal. Even though I saw him in the trailers, it's still so surreal to see these other villains just hanging out with Tom Holland. It's just weird. Loved it.
What did you think about all the villains? It's kind of like when I saw Electro, the only thing that I thought was, like, literally the day before, Ash had sent me this thing about Wesley Snipes in Blade 3 that, he basically he refused to open his eyes, so they basically CGI'd eyes on him when he was have you heard that story? So apparently there's this whole thread on it at Twitter. It's absolutely insane. Apparently Wesley Snipes was so uncooperative in Blade Trinity, in the third one, that there were certain things that he wouldn't do. So one of them, he basically sat there and didn't say anything for like the entire thing. So there's a bit when Triple H is like interrogating him and stuff, and he's just like sitting there like this. That's not actually part of the script. It's because he refused to speak or anything like that. There's a bit when he's lying on this like table where it's like supposedly dead, and he's meant to be lying there, and his eyes are meant to be open, right? Because that's what happens when you're dead. Your eyes are open, right? But he wouldn't open his eyes. So they had to CGI eyes open eyes onto him. So when I saw Jamie Foxx, and I saw Jamie Foxx as Jamie Foxx, I'm just thinking to myself, this dude was just like, okay, I'll come and do Spider-Man, but I'm gonna be Jamie Foxx. I'm not gonna be this bald-headed, guy who's like.
Possibly,
he was exactly Jamie Foxx. You know what I mean?
I also think everyone knew that Electro, the way he played it in Amazing Spider-Man 2 was just terrible. Every aspect of it was just bad. So I think everyone knew that we had to change it. So I like the fact that they kind of addressed it a little bit. Like when he first appears, he does look how he looked in Amazing Spider-Man, because it was like this glowing thing. But then it kind of changes because they kind of explain it like the universe, and it's adjusted him slightly, which I'm okay with that. Like I was actually okay with that. I thought he might annoy me, but no, it worked for me.
The funniest thing was Lizard, because Lizard was just I don't know, just a creature. He had nothing to him, no personality, nothing. He was like, I mean, Lizard was actually like a legit like scientist professor. They turned him into this like like basically just a lizard. So Doctor Strange basically tasks Peter to go around and like trap all of these kind of villains, so that he can like send them back. But as we know from the trailer, if he sends them back, they're all going to get killed. So he decides that he's going to try and find a way to kind of like save them basically and not send them back. So he uses the old Stark technology to try and create.
You're skipping over the moment that Doctor Strange was going to send them back with the box, and then Peter steals the box, and you get this crazy chase scene.
So there's a crazy. I mean, that's obviously part of that in the trailer, but it's interesting because he gets knocked out of his body, right? And there's a bit obviously we don't see in the trailer where he can still move his body, and Doctor Strange like, how can you do that?
I don't think was. I think because he wasn't consciously thinking about doing it. I think it's purely the spider instinct in it, of just instinctually
moving around.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like the spider sense kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, is there something else there?
He was just talking about doing other shit, like, oh, this is cool, but his body's just doing its own thing. It's pure instinct.
Yeah, because it's like, you shouldn't be able to do that and stuff. And yeah, we end up with this like big kind of battle in the mirror universe with Strange and Peter Parker. And the one thing that I really like about that is that one of the criticisms of the Tom Holland Spider-Man is that he is what they call Iron Boy, and kind of like all his stuff is given by Tony Stark, right?
That's something I was gonna save to the very end, but okay, go for it.
But in this kind of thing, he kind of realizes that there's a mathematical formula to the Mirrorverse, and he uses that against Doctor Strange in order to kind of to trap him. So he traps him, and he takes this box where the spell is in there so that he can't activate it. And then he takes all the villains back, to Happy Hogan's hangout kind of thing, and basically uses the Stark technology to try and make kind of like anti-serums and all this stuff to kind of cure them. But Electro is not really up for it because he's not like a geek anymore, and he kind of wants to have this power. But Dr. Rock is up for it. Lizard has no real opinion. He's got to do what he's got to do, right?
Well, Dr. Rock isn't up to it because he's still being trapped by the nanotechs in the arms.
Yeah.
I like the way that it like connected like a Bluetooth device when the nanobots were in the arms.
Yeah, that was Joey. So, but the one who's really not up for it is, and Sandman just wants to go home to his kid, right? Yeah. And the one who's really not up for it is Green Goblin. We kind of find that that basically, he's hiding the fact that Green Goblin's still there.
Well, the split personality takes over in it because there's the good side and the bad, and the bad side rears its head.
So we end up with this fight between Spider-Man and Green Goblin, and this thing was jokes, man. I was just thinking we need a commentary from JR and what's it called? He gave him the spine buster and he gave him a body slam, and then there's a power bomb. He picked him up and gave him a power bomb as well, right?
Through the floor, they're going through different floors as they're going down. You have to actually say that all of this stuff trying to save all these villains comes because of Aunt May kind of persuading them that people deserve to be saved. Everyone deserves a second chance. And then he gets into his naive head that he can fix everyone.
Yeah. So pretty much all of these villains end up escaping, but then Green Goblin is like basically keeps fighting against Spider-Man. And what happens is that kind of like in the way that Green Goblin himself got killed in Spider-Man 1, Aunt May ends up getting killed by getting hit by the glider, basically.
Yeah, and I like the way it was in the media. I like the way that she kind of seemed okay, but it was like it just took a second to kind of the injury, just the internal bleed and all of that. She just collapses. Like that's when people started first getting choked up in the cinema.
Yeah. I when I saw that, because this is the thing, like Tom Holland showed some range there, man. I've always kind of thought, okay, this guy, when is he going to show like his pure like acting chops and stuff? And he showed some range, man, when Aunt May was kind of there, and it's like, man, this guy's acting his heart out now, you know what I mean? And it's just like literally like the grief and the rage and the everything, and just like
needed to have this as well, because he didn't have the Uncle Ben moment that the other Spider-Mans had. So he kind of needed her to take that place of that Uncle Ben loss that he was in a way indirectly responsible for. Like it was great.
So not in so many words, like Aunt May before that kind of tells him like, you with great power comes great responsibility, but she kind of put it around a little bit, right?
That reaction as well. People were like,
they're like, it's the same, exactly the same in ours there as well. So what ends up happening is that obviously then we end up getting now Tom Holland he's just going off on his own kind of thing, because he's just like, I've just done something like horrendous, and I just have to go kill Green Goblin, and I don't want to be part of this kind of thing anymore.
Heath first, but that's when it flips over to May and Ed or Ned
and Mary J.
And that's where we kind of skipped over that. Ned got hold of the bloody sling ring, but he did. There was a little there was a little thing where he did say that my auntie thinks that we have magic in our family. So I guess that explains why he can activate the sling ring.
Why he can actually activate it, because he basically he gets hold of the sling ring, and he finds that he can like open a portal, because he's just like doing this. I need to find Peter Parker, and like this thing starts appearing, and it's like, what the hell? What's going on there? But then he ends up opening a portal. And then you see like the back of a Spider-Man. And then when he turned around, I knew straight away, because I was like, the lenses, man. The lenses are different, right? And then when he walked in, people are like,
and he's super tall.
Yeah.
It took a second. It took a second in my cinema. I don't think people really kind of connected the fact that he was so tall. But the moment he pulled off that mask,
people connected straight away as soon as they saw his outfit, basically. And just, and then there's a few funny moments, obviously, with Garfield and stuff. Garfield, for me, man, he looked like somebody who's like, I am loving the shit out of acting in this film.
He's always wanted this. Like, he always said during his run as Spider-Man, during his promotional stuff, that he would love to get to play with the rest of the Marvel. But I feel so happy for him now that he got to do this.
So that's the thing. So like I went into WikiLeaks to go and look at Spider-Man stuff, because I was kind of like, okay, let me see what half these Sony emails kind of say. So what happened to Garfield? This is the thing. Basically, when Marvel and Sony were kind of like, okay, let's bring the rights back to Marvel. Let's bring Spider-Man into your universe and blah blah blah. Sony said that Garfield is going to be your Spider-Man. We want Garfield to be your Spider-Man, right? And then Marvel were like, okay, fine, he can be our Spider-Man, but he needs to come for screen test, right? So he was, and they're like, okay, fine, but we're not going to let you make any Spider-Man films unless you have Andrew Garfield there in it. So Andrew Garfield gets invited to Marvel to go and meet with the execs and stuff, but he was ill, right? So he didn't turn up, and they basically thought of it as a slight against them, and they're like, we're not having this guy coming and be. So basically he could have been it if he wasn't ill at the time, which is kind of crazy.
What was out? Was it still phase 1 at that point, or was it?
Yeah, his ones were coming around, 2011, 2012,
basically
right?
10 years ago.
Yeah, so his ones were coming just as phase 2 was coming in. So around Guardians time, that he would have been there. So that was the thing. There's so many other mad stuff that I found in there, like Sony can use Kingpin, right? But they can only use Kingpin in association with Daredevil, right? Okay, and they can only use Daredevil. Sony, yeah. But Sony can. No, they don't know. That's the thing. That's the crazy thing. Sony are not allowed to use Kingpin unless it's in association with Daredevil. Of course, then they had to go and ask Marvel to use Daredevil. However, there's a list of there's like 900 characters that they can use and stuff like that. Daredevil is one of the 900 characters, and it's not an exclusive character to Marvel, right? It is a character that basically Sony can use. However, they can only use it up until the points up until Fox decide. So obviously these are old emails, right? Up until Fox decide whether they're going to reuse the character or not. So if Fox at the time decided we want to use Daredevil, right? Because I thought Daredevil was always with Marvel, but on this it's saying Fox Studios, right? So if Fox decided we're going to make a Daredevil film, then that would mean that Fox would be using Daredevil, and then Sony could not use Daredevil, which means they can't use Kingpin either. So Kingpin is kind of associated with that kind of thing.
Weird. So that means they had to get him cleared to put him in Spider-Verse then.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the animated, but this is what it says in live action. There's also loads of stipulations as to what Peter Parker has to be. Like it says he has to be white, he has to be heterosexual, he can't abuse drugs. It's so funny. It's like, okay, let me just see. He can't abuse drugs, he can't sell drugs. He's not allowed to sell drugs. And this is the jokes. Sony Pictures Entertainment must consult with either two creative executives designated by Marvel, currently Kevin Feige and Tom Cohen, regarding the following items, with Sony Pictures Entertainment decision being final. They have to consult with them on the top 5 cast members, the individual producers, director of photography, production designer, composer, editor, costume designer, principal visual effects, designer for costume of Spider-Man, designer the principal villain costumes. Marvel creative executives do not have access to sets or creative meetings unless invited by Sony Pictures Entertainment.
How the fuck did Sony make any films with all of these stipulations? That is insane.
It's mad because it's crazy because we've always been asking like how how much control do Marvel have, how much control do Thingy have, and it's kind of like they're saying to them, you can make the film, but we get last kind of talk on who the director is, who the actors are, who the visual effects guys are, all this kind of stuff. This is weird
though, because we know that Disney, and even before it was Disney, just Marvel, they always wanted to get Spidey back. And for Sony to keep hold of these rights, they have to keep on making films before the rights lapse. You would have thought that Marvel could just put the brakes on everything and say, no, we're not, this isn't acceptable, and that they could just hold everything up in order to get for the rights to get to lapse and then for them to get it back. But I guess there's more technicalities there that I guess they can't do that. It's weird.
There's another thing there as well. Sony Pictures are not allowed to make any animated Spider-Man features that are less than 44 minutes. It's like mental. Like some lawyers have spent they're probably charged like hundreds of $1,000s to write this thing up. It's mad. If you're ever completely bored, have a look through it. Some of the characters are hilarious, man. There's Spider Thor, right? Spider Thor, who they have to ask, is like joint owned by both people. Like, when are they ever going to bring Spider Thor in there? But somebody was like, you got to write in there. They've also stipulated that the suit can only be red and blue, or gray and red, or black and red, but it has to be a specific black. Right, so it's crazy. So I love it. But anyway, let's go back to the thing. So we end up seeing Andrew Garfield kind of coming in, and then obviously like Ned and MJ are kind of like, I love the interaction where he has to prove that he's Spidey, and he just sticks to the ceiling, and he has to clear the cobweb because the auntie asked him to. Yeah. He's there. He's like, here you go. Yeah, I'm Spider-Man. He's hanging off the ceiling, right? They're like, no, you have to do something else. And he's like, I'm hanging off the ceiling. He's like, this is enough, you know what I mean? So just funny. And obviously the was it grandma or was it mum? It's like a typical Asian grandma kind of thing. I think it was grandma, wasn't it? Or was it mum? I don't know.
Well, it might be even auntie. Might have been his auntie.
Who is just like, who's just like saying, can you do this? Can you do that? Because it's like, when you have kids in the house and then like an adult male comes in, it's like, oh, my toilet's not working. Yeah. This is not right. Do you mind fixing this? Do you mind doing this? Do you mind? Oh, this lamp. Do you mind changing the bulb on that? Stuff like that. Basically, it reminded me so much of when I go and see like older family members, and they're like, can you do this, this, and this? But anyway, so then obviously they try and open another portal, and I was just like, the thing is, I was there beaming ear to ear, like smiling, because I what's coming, right? Yeah. So they open another portal, and then and then Maguire walks through.
The gasp that just it actually warmed my heart, because it kind of showed that even with all the spoilers out there, there was still, it didn't even matter, because people were still having that sort of magic reaction where it was just like,
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, everyone was like, yeah, that is like raw. So then he walks through it, and then there's this interesting kind of dialogue between Garfield and Maguire, and he's like, why are you dressed like a youth pastor? That was just hilarious, man.
I've got to say though, even with everything with all the rumors we hear and ruined screenshots from the sets, from people leaking stuff, I was actually surprised how much it touched me seeing the two of them in this film. It just kind of I don't know, it just felt like this magical moment that you just never expect to see. It was just like, wow, even I'm just like so happy.
I thought it's like super cool, man. When they then obviously like MJ and Ned kind of speak to him and speak to the Spider-Man, and they decide they're all going to go together to go and find Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and basically talk to him, to kind of say, look, we're the older guys, we've been through this already. So they go there, they tell him about their Uncle Ben in their universe, which is that Aunt May's taken on the role. That was really nice. It's kind of emotional and stuff like that. The look on when he's like, Garfield's like, I lost somebody, and he goes, you don't know how it feels. And the look on his face is like, shit, man, he knows how it feels. Like it was emotional. Like he's like looking like he's about to cry, man. Like literally, like he has not got over that.
For some reason, it didn't immediately go to Gwen for me. I just thought he was going to talk about, his Uncle Ben. But when he mentioned Gwen, it was like, oh yeah, because he couldn't just watch her die in front of him.
Yeah, because he almost saved her, but it was just slightly too late. You know what I mean? So then they obviously decide that like they're gonna go and try and get save the villains in effect, but they've obviously got to fight them there at the same time.
What I love as a little side note, I love that they immediately got on with each other. I don't know, because you think in some other franchises they would all kind of just be pissed at each other, fighting each other, and it'd just be an excuse to have Spider-Man versus Spider-Man fight. But I just like the fact that they was kind of got on like buddies, like they're kind of different aspects of the same person.
I like this. I like the three things there as well. There's one guy who's just been doing it for ages. Like literally, he's been doing it. He's probably seen everything. Like literally, he's talking about like everything that he's seen. Then you've got the middle guy who's been doing it for a while, right? And he's not quite jaded or anything yet. He's kind of like he's seen a few things there. And then you've got the young guy who seems to have just been thrown in at the deep end, right? Now, one of the best parts in this film, which I thought was, they all basically go. And they go to a science lab, and you get a really cool Peter Parker-y science stuff, which is pure Spider-Man. And then after that, they go to the Empire. The Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty, and their basically Statue of Liberty have scaffolding on it because it seems like they're putting Captain America's shield on it, which we'll talk about there at the end, because that is very symbolic. I kind of thought what happened to that, and the banter between these three guys on there was just brilliant. Like literally, like
talking about like did this villains are aliens and then went to space, and they were like, you went to space? I like the fact that they kind of indirectly address that Garfield is the Spider-Man that kind of always gets shit on and never really got to really have his fun. And he kind of embodies that where he's like, oh, I suck. I never got to do anything. I was like, because he's like, I want to fight an alien. I just
had
a guy in a rhino suit.
That was brilliant, man. That was brilliant. And then he's like, oh, I'm Spider-Man number 3. Yeah, I'm Spider-Man number 3, right? And he's like, no, you're amazing, man. You're amazing. You're amazing. Like that. It's just like, I thought that was brilliant. And the thing, there's so many memes like throughout this, that have come from like the Raimi verse and stuff. One of the ones of him messing his back up, I can't remember whether it was 1 or 2. And he's like, oh, my back, like Tobey Maguire. He's kind of like falls off this building, and like his back has been mashed up.
That was a big thing in it, that he nearly never did number 2. That was when they nearly replaced him with Gyllenhaal because he messed up his back during the training for that.
And that's the thing, like in the film, like it's like, when he's messed up his back, and then Garfield kind of just like basically cracks his back and realigns it. Is awesome.
Dude, we missed that the Spider-Man disappointing moment, which I'm a little bummed that they weren't all in their costumes, just like the meme, but I'll take it anyway when they're in the costumes, like Peter, and they're like, oh, what, me? What, him?
Yeah. It's just that all of that banter kind of stuff was just great, man. Especially like because like it's pure comic book when he's putting on a lab coat and stuff like that, and it's like Garfield was doing it and stuff. And then obviously then we get the big the big kind of fight at the end where they're trying to like go and fight against the different villains. And the thing that I loved so much about this was that obviously they're trying to fight individually first. They're not used to kind of fighting as a team, and then they decide to fight as a team. And there's a little bit of funny banter when he's like, when Tom Holland's like, yeah, I was look, guys, yeah, I know how to fight as a team. I was in the Avengers. And they're like, whoa, that's so cool. What are the Avengers? Because they have no Avengers on the thing, and he's like, Earth's mightiest heroes, like so yeah, is So basically, they're all kind of fighting now as a team. They end up fighting against these, the different villains and stuff. Really, I love the battle, man. The way it's choreographed, everything. Yeah, but then we kind of find that despite all of their action, they decide to take out one at a time. That the lizard kind of like gets free, and then basically there's a portal there where MJ and Ned are kind of watching the events that are going on, and the lizard kind of goes through the portal, it forces them to go into where the Statue of Liberty is. And then it's kind of like, what's coming next because you've seen it in the trailer, and it's like, MJ's gonna get knocked off a building and stuff, and MJ gets knocked off a building,
and Tom's reaching for her, but then the glider comes, takes him off, and you think, oh, this is the moment.
This is it.
Garfield
and he goes. Garfield sees it, gets her, catches her, and he's like crying, and he's like, "Are you all right?" Like that. And that was when the person next to us is like, she's like sobbing her eyes out,
Chef's
man.
Kiss. Perfect.
It's just like it was absolutely perfectly done, man. And then they end up. The thing that I really liked, right? Okay, and I rarely see this in the MCU, which is why I flipping love this film so much. Basically, Tom Holland just loses it against the Green Goblin because he's like rage and grief, and he is gonna kill this guy. Can you imagine, right? Do you remember in Civil War, Winter Soldier punches like this and he grabs it and he just holds it. He's like, oh, you got a metal arm. This is a full-on punch from the Winter Soldier, yeah? Imagine how much power Spider-Man has, and he's punching you in the face again and again and again, like and he's going full force there as well, and he picks up the glider because he's basically about to kill Green Goblin. They end up putting the serum on the lizard, and it actually is Reese Ifans. I didn't know Reese Ifans was going to turn up in this, but actually it was on the lizard, on the Sandman. The Sandman, I don't know if they de-aged him, but it was like exactly the same dude from from the thing.
That was amazing. They're actually able to bring everyone back without exception.
So cool. And we get Doc Ock coming because he basically blindsides Electro, and then
he's
takes
the one we should be most impressed with. The fact that he still looks exactly the same because from the oldest. Because even Maguire is visibly aged, not to the point that he doesn't fit in his suit, but the Dafoe was old when the other ones were made. So the fact that he's still here, and he did a lot of the physical fights as well. He said it was part of his agreement to come in, that he wanted to get in the action. And he just did use a step, man.
Did you see that villain panel with all three of them? Oh, no, so basically, it's hilarious, man. Defoe's like, we were asked to kind of come in, and basically they were like, oh, there's a scene where we've got to go and basically fight against Tom Holland. So he fought against Tom Holland, started beating him, punching him so many times, and then afterwards, then we decided to like run the cameras and like put our suits on and stuff. Right? Just hilarious. They're all just like having this banter with each other. So you had Tom Holland. He's about to like kill the Green Goblin, right? And Tobey Maguire stops him, which is like everything comes full circle in this. So you have Andrew Garfield saving MJ. You have so he's kind of redeemed himself. That Green Goblin got killed with his glider in Spider-Man 1, and Tobey Maguire kind of stops Tom Holland killing the Green Goblin with the glider. But in doing that, Green Goblin kind of like stabs him basically, and then Andrew Garfield throws the anti-serum and ends up.
Did you think for a second that they were actually gonna kill off Maguire?
I did. I did actually. I did.
No, they're not.
Yeah, because I was thinking, man, if they kill off Maguire, that's gonna be kind of crazy. But obviously, like the thing is that he had to kind of have his Uncle Ben moment, and that was with Aunt May there anyway, right? So then Doctor Strange kind of closes off. He ends up closing off all of the all the multiverse and stuff. And there's some crazy stuff in there. Like, did you see the outline of Scorpion and Black Cat?
I was trying to, because I knew that there were going to be little Easter eggs, but the thing is, there were so many, and my eye was bouncing around so many at once that I wasn't able to just pinpoint on one and just focus. But I knew that they had to have been people. So you saw Scorpion.
I saw Scorpion and Black Cat were standing next to each other, and the reason why I knew was because Scorpion was green. Okay. So you could kind of like you see the tail coming off and stuff, and the other one was was a Black Cat, but it was like white outline, but you could see like the fluffy thing around the around the neck and stuff like that. But I didn't see any other. I guess somebody's probably got in there and said there's this person, that person, Craven, blah blah, all that kind of. Apparently Craven was in it there as well, but I didn't see. So then we end up closing that there as well. And then the problem is if Doctor Strange closes all the multiverses, the only way of doing it is to get the original spell back where everybody forgets Peter Parker. So he does it. He ends up closing it. It's kind of like a sad moment because he knows that Ned and MJ are gonna forget him. Yeah. And it's very emotional, kind of that whole kind of thing there. And then MJ's like, look, she tells him that she loves him. And he's gonna kind of say it back, but she's like, "No, you find me, and you tell me, right?" But later on, he does go and find her, and he finds Ned. Yeah. But then he sees that basically the injury that she got as part of the as part of the battle.
He realizes that they're always going to be in danger just by the association. The fact that they're happy, like their lives are actually better, like they're. Even in her job, she's not as miserable in this version than she was when she knew him. And Ned seems to be stable and looking all right. So it's like,
it's basically like he knows that he's going to cause them, pain. And she does say this very interesting thing. She goes, "It doesn't hurt anymore." And when she says that, he knows that, oh, I am actually gonna, I'm actually causing problems. So I'm just plugging my laptop in because it's about to die. But yeah, so basically, like we kind of then forward on a bit more kind of in the future, and then there's stuff that happens in this where I'm looking at and I'm like, okay, we're getting into some real Spider-Man shit now. He's got his sewing.
I love this. New suit. This is what I loved, especially because this is another aspect that I thought, yes, they got to reboot Spider-Man without rebooting Spider-Man. Yeah, it was just start again. They got rid of all the stuff that I didn't like about this Spider-Man, and I've loved the films, all of them coming up, but the whole association with Iron Man and the super techie suits. That I didn't like. It was too much with all the gadgets and all of that. I liked Spider-Man to be a more grounded character, so they got rid of all of that. He's just got a regular suit that he has to make himself. That looks very classic in its design. Yeah, he's in his apartment. And loved it.
And he's broke and he's by himself. And now J. Jonah Jameson doesn't know Peter Spider-Man. So now he can start taking photos and all that kind of stuff. It's like it's pure Spidey. And that for any Spider-Man fan, is just kind of brings it full circle, right?
And they've left room for a new love interest without really betraying the old one, you know. So I reckon it's got to be Black Cat. I'm leaning.
It's got to be Felicia. It's got to be
because
Felicia.
it has to be someone who's in the life, because he saw the damage he did to MJ, so he probably won't want to get involved with regular chick. So with her being
I mean, the question is whether he gets into NYU, because obviously there's no Osborns in this universe, right? So he's not going to have any association with Harry Osborn yet. But yeah, I guess maybe he meets but then didn't he say didn't Norman Osborn say his son doesn't exist? And so then there'll be no Harry Osborn in the thing, and that means there's no I guess the only people that he would meet is potentially Gwen Stacy, Felicia Hardy at NYU, right? So that brings all the Spider-Man stuff full circle. So then we go into the mid-credit kind of scene, which I was speaking to Silent about, and I was like, this seems a bit like a waste to me. And also that I can't see how it works, because all of the Spider villains got pulled into New York and the surrounding areas, right?
Yeah, but he's not
apart from him.
Yeah, he's not.
So everybody who knows who Peter Parker is,
we're drawn to him.
Drawn to him, got pulled in and around New York, right? Apart from him, who's in a bar in Mexico somewhere.
Just a random place he kind of bled through. But we never really established whether Venom had an idea of all of this, whether he was aware to a degree of
what was going on. Because it kind of just because it kind of just seems he knows who Peter Parker is. He knows who Spider-Man is, right? And then the thing is, like, he knows kind of what they have like a bit of banter and stuff, where Eddie Brock's kind of like finding out a few things that happen in this universe.
Villains, there are loads of superheroes and all of that. He's like, what rubbish?
Oh, he's a purple guy who collects stones. Aliens don't collect stones. What's the matter with you? Like, it's so funny. But yeah, then you get all of that, and then basically, obviously, Venom kind of gets taken back to his own universe, which is interesting, because then I'm thinking in Venom 3, that means that Venom, they're over, because there's going to be no Eddie Brock then, because Eddie Brock's in this other universe now, but there's a bit of the symbiote gets left there.
Well, it makes me feel like it's bittersweet, because that means Venom 3 is just going to be back to the status quo. He's just there on his own. But then you've got this. You got a piece of the symbiote, but then what? You're going to have two Venoms then? His own solo film and then this other version of it, which gets a bit, is that, do you want that? It's a bit weird.
Unless the whole emphasis of Venom 3 is the fact that he needs to find that bit of the symbiote that, has disappeared.
Find a way to cross over. That could be it. That could be interesting. And
so
it also,
it's kind of like...
Go on, you finish.
No, so it's kind of like a bit of my body's disappeared. Like kind of thing, like, needs to find out where it is. But
he's been constantly losing pieces of himself anyway. That's
true.
How
that is true. That is true. Yeah.
But it does. But then I was feeling optimistic in that this does open the door for a proper Venom with that piece that was left. A proper villainous, just tearing people apart, vicious Venom.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Can we just say the best thing that didn't happen in this movie is Morbius didn't turn up?
Yes. And this makes Morbius make even less sense, because isn't there a Spider-Man picture on the wall in that trailer?
Exactly. Okay, so one of the whole things in the MCU is that you get an advert at the end and for the next thing that you're meant to be excited for. So the next Sony Pictures film is Morbius, right? Yet you've put no Morbius anything in this film. What the hell is wrong with you, right? Now, honestly, I didn't want Morbius to be in it, because I kind of thought, okay, it's going to take some of the shine off these other guys and stuff, and we never seen Morbius there before or whatever. But at the same time, I kind of think to myself, you've now created zero hype for this other film. Nobody's going to want to see that. You know what I mean? Like, nobody gives a stuff about that.
Wants no part of that. He wants nothing to do with that film. It makes no damn sense.
It might be one of those clauses where they're like, these are our 5 principal characters, whatever, and that's the one thing they're like, yeah, get that out of there. Maybe because too much vampire confusion. I don't know, Blade, Morbius. I don't know. That as well. So
did you want Venom to turn up in that final battle, just at the very end with no explanation, just as a final cavalry to fight like Lizard or something?
What I would have liked is instead of that mid-credit scene, I would have preferred in the mid-credit scene actually for Morbius to be in it. I honestly would have. But what I would have liked is my kind of ideal thing, and you can cuss this down or whatever, would have been Ned opening the portal and Venom standing there, and he's like, what the hell, close it.
That would have been a good one.
And then he quickly closes it. You know, he quickly closes it, and then they're like scared to open another one. But when they open the second one,
as he just bitten somebody's head, and he just turns and looks down the pool.
Like, close it.
That would have been, yeah.
Oh. That would have been jokes, man. And then Morbius takes on that role of Venom in that other scene when he's in a bar and all that kind of stuff. That would have made more sense because then you build a bit more hype for Morbius, which has no hype there anyway. But then we actually, you know, this is the thing that makes me laugh. Half the cinema disappeared after that one, yeah. And it's like, mate.
Yeah, quite a lot of people stuck around in my one. Quite a lot of people just stick around. There was a few that run out, but
yeah. So then we get to see a Doctor Strange trailer, like a full-on Doctor Strange trailer at the end of this, which is kind of crazy, man. Like literally like a whole trailer.
How much of this footage is going to be in the film, considering they've got these massive reshoots apparently happening?
Yeah, I'm just so this is Sam Raimi doing this, right?
Yeah,
Sam Raimi's doing this. Now, what I'm just wondering is, was it too dark or was there too much? You know,
I think
I don't know.
No reason for me to think this. This is just me just throwing it out there. I think they're adjusting the dynamic of, because what we saw in this trailer, we not only got Wanda in there, but they also introduced what's
America? Was it America Chavez in this?
Yeah,
as well?
yeah. We saw a little glimpse of her, but the other villain.
Oh, the other Doctor Strange.
What's he called? Supreme Strange or something? Oh my god, it's gonna piss me off that I forgot who he is. But the fact from What If, they've connected What If now to this. We got to see that corrupted Strange. Which was like, what the fuck? I was not expecting that. Now I'm
because when you see him, it's like, whoa, there is actually an evil Strange in this. That they did in the animated, which gives us hope for Headless Ant-Man to turn up.
The ultimate hero, truly. You
know what I mean?
I love it. I love to see how they're gonna, if they bring all of those sort of things that he did in What If into this. But what I think the dynamic could change, because I'm thinking they're bringing Wanda probably to help him fix the multiverse issue that he has to deal with. And I'm guessing she probably sees, because they've already established that she's like the big villain.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that she sees what's happening and feels like, this is my chance to get Vision back in a different universe. That kind of leads to her going mad again. And I think, even though they're setting out to make it look like, I'm going to call him Dark Strange. I know that's not what he's called. I think it's Supreme Strange or something. But I'm going to guess that he's actually teaming up with the Dark Strange, because they look kind of friendly in that scene. They weren't fighting or nothing. I'm guessing he has to team up with him in order to stop her
against the bigger evil. Against the bigger bad kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
It's interesting because that, from what I saw from Spider-Man, it kind of seems like people talking like, oh, this is phase 4, like Spider-Man. I'm kind of thinking the way they ended Spider-Man actually pulled it away from the MCU. Like, obviously there was a lot of MCU stuff that was there, but then it seems like now he's on his own. There's no Avengers. He's just like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Whereas with Strange, it looks like what I'm kind of thinking is they're making Strange the big guy to go forwards, if you know what I mean. Kind of like, we now have this void that, you had Tony and Cap who are in, and now they need this kind of like enigma to kind of be, to be the main thing. And I'm kind of wondering whether they're thinking, okay, who's gonna take that role? Is it gonna be Captain Marvel? Is it gonna be Doctor Strange? Whatever. And the way that this is made, it kind of makes me think that, oh, Doctor Strange is the one that is the powerful guy.
But he always seems like he kind of prefers to do his own thing. I like that they established in this that he's no longer the Sorcerer Supreme, and it's the other dude, because the fact that Strange was blipped, innit? So 5 years, someone else had to take over that role, and it stayed with him. He didn't automatically go back to Strange. I kind of like that.
So
Benedict Wong's character,
So I mean, this is the thing, man. I can kind of see Strange going forward, but it'll be interesting to know kind of like who is going to be taking over. I can't see Captain Marvel doing it. To me, it's got to be that. It's got to be that. But I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, what's your rating for Spider-Man Far From Home?
It's so difficult because part of me, just sheer enjoyment, wants to give it a 5, but because I was in this mad headspace at the beginning, I had to kind of build up. But I'm just gonna give it 4.5. I think that's a good, solid.
That's what I would say there as well.
Sheer joy, and this movie alone has made the MCU 5 movies bigger, because you have to add in the other Spider-Mans now, because they all feel connected to the MCU now. And now you got the Marvel stuff. Actually, the Netflix shit has to kind of be part of this stuff. So it's just instantly this bigger play. There's more toys to play with now, and I love that.
Yeah, I had to say 4.5 there as well, because I kind of think there's a different situation if you were young when those first Spider-Man films came out, than if you, because like my kids are like, oh, you went to see Spider-Man, we want to see Spider-Man. I said, you got to see all the old Spider-Man films first, otherwise it's not going to make sense, right? And they're like, I think if they will watch Spider-Man 1 and 2 and then Amazing Spider-Man,
they haven't even seen 1 and 2 yet. I mean the Garfield ones. I mean the Holland ones.
No, they haven't seen the Holland ones.
What the hell? What are you doing? This is hatred for Marvel. That's wrong.
No, it's not hatred. But they see Shang-Chi, man. They saw Shang-Chi. Come on, they saw Shang-Chi. That's it.
It to them, man. This is their memories that they're gonna cherish.
They got years to watch that kind of stuff. My daughter's still into Frozen and stuff, you know what I mean? So it's just
probably gonna show them Shazam before you get to show them. This is not right.
Oh, they've seen Shazam, yeah.
See, I knew it. Terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. My days.
So anyways, guys, let us know your thoughts on Spider-Man Far From Home. There was a couple of other bits of news. No Way Home. There was a couple of other bits of news, but we could talk about it next time, because they're like so insignificant, and I kind of need me and Ed to watch Kingsman to make this news kind of a bit, more, more kind of, know it a little bit more, because Matthew Vaughn has got a plan for Wolverine and says he wants to direct Wolverine, but then people are saying in the comments on this article, like, have you seen the new Kingsman film, because this guy is never going to get to direct the film.
I'm hearing mixed things about Kingsman. So, I mean, some bad things, but some people saying that they love it, and so I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, so we'll try and see that, and then
we got Matrix as well, the same.
Matrix as well next week there as well. So yeah, man, that'll be good. And
are we going to talk about it? You might as well. There was a comic version.
Yeah, there has been a whole. I've got Matrix graphic novels, so yeah, we could talk about that. That's perfectly that is perfectly fine. So we'll be talking about that there as well, guys. If you have any comments and things, I know you guys asked us a couple of questions. One of them being, which I'll tell Ed now, so you can think about it for next time. If you could watch one comic book property again for the first time, what would you watch and why? What's the reason there for it? So it can be a trilogy or single thing or whatever you want to take. So
don't even need to think about it. I know it disgusts me just to admit it, that it's not a Marvel property, but it's got to be the Nolan things, isn't it? Has to be.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that in the next, or we'll answer that properly for you guys there next time. Until then, guys, you can email us on dcvsmarvelpod@gmail.com and let us know what you think. Also, go to the Facebook page, the most active, which is DCVS Marvel Podcast. And also, if you want to catch Ed's talking about some other films and stuff like that there as well.
Movies, TV news, and another Spider-Man review, because I've got to do it on that show as well. Talking at the movies, go give it a look-see on all podcasting platforms. And the video version of this and of that on Vulture Network YouTube.
You guys talking about Expanse again because it started up again, or
yep.
Okay, cool, guys, check that out definitely. And until then, guys, we'll see you again next time. We'll be talking about Matrix next time, I guess, right? So yeah, all right then, guys, see you later.
Hey guys.